Big box fat bikes generate a lot of interest, and recently I looked at the Mongoose Malus, and there was something I got wrong in that video, and I want to correct that, but I also received a few questions and saw some comments that I want to cover, so let's get to it. And I'll start off with those fat tires, because I've seen comments saying that fat tires are costly, and that makes sense because they're so big. But when I shopped fat tires on Amazon, the prices really aren't that bad, but I guess from a big box budget shopper perspective, they could be a tad costly. So I reached out to Pacific Cycle and I asked if I needed a replacement tire for the Malus, how much would it cost? And shockingly, they came back with $16.95 plus shipping. Now that's cheap. But what about tubes? People messaged me and said that fat bike tubes are too expensive for budget fat biking. Well, on Amazon I looked and they were surprisingly affordable. Even the Mongoose official 26x4 tube, $13.77. So you won't get bled dry on tubes or tires, but continuing on cost, there were people that mentioned Academy Sports having a Mongoose Malus for $264.99, which is $55 cheaper than the Malus that I was looking at. And this is where I swear I have the best viewers of any channel on YouTube. You guys can sniff out a deal and you share your information, so shoppers take note. And for big box fat bike shoppers, there's something that I said in the previous video that I need to correct, and that was that the Malus, it's a larger frame version of the Dolomite. It turns out that this is not the case. And after asking, I found out that the Malus and the Dolomite are the same bike, just different graphics. And I suspect, looking at the Mongoose hitch, that it's probably the same too. So to re-clarify, I was wrong, and they are the exact same size. The Mongoose Dolomite and the Mongoose Malus are the same bike, just different graphics and different vendors. All that said, let's get back to that fat tire, or the fat wheel. Because the rims, they are single wall, which is not really a worry because they're plenty strong, and a double wall would just add weight. But many of you watch KevCentral to get detailed looks, so here you go. By the way, inflating those tires with a standard floor pump, that's a workout. So much so that I mounted a hand pump to the frame just as a personal joke, or maybe for those times when I have a day or two to air up a tire. Now let's look at a few other things I need to note. At the handlebars, at that 1 1/8 inch steerer, that's standard, but at the stem, people ask me if their 31.8mm bars will fit on this bike. Well, yes they will, but you'll need a new stem because the factory one is set up for 25.4. The bottom bracket, it's also an oddball, and someone messaged me about this and said they put an external ball bearing bottom bracket on their Dolomite. I guess good luck with however you manage that, but the cranks, at least they're standard square taper. You can keep the cranks if you only want to swap out pedals, because they're standard, so the sky's the limit there. When it comes to shedding, some of the Malus is 43 pounds. Most people mention the seat post and the saddle, and that post, it is steel and it's heavy, and for those interested, it's a 28.6mm diameter post. Another area of frequent mentions, that 14 to 28 tooth freewheel, because that 28 tooth low isn't going to do anyone any favors on hills, so most people want to swap that out. But remember, this is a freewheel, not a cassette. But fortunately, Shimano makes a 7-speed mega range freewheel that ups that 28 tooth to a 34 tooth. And that should make a big difference, at least I hope so, on hills. Now it has been mentioned that there are 8-speed freewheels and I think even 9-speed. But when I start looking at the specs on those, I don't see that the low gearing's any better. At least any better than the 7-speed mega range. Now there is a less steep transition from say 2 to 1, but at least with the 7-speed mega range you don't have to buy a new shifter. Now that's assuming you keep that twist shifter. If you're going to a trigger shifter and you're having to buy it, well, that changes the argument a bit. Then there are the people that mention they converted their Dolomite to a 1x12 or their Malus to a 1x10 SLX, something like that. Now remember, this is a freewheel setup from the factory, so you're going to need new wheels and parts, and things like that are not cheap for fat bikes. And also remember that factory derailleur, that has an integrated hanger. And the last thing, this is more of a personal preference, but Mongoose bikes usually have a metal head tube badge. It usually comes out of the box wanting to peel off, but I like the way that it looks. And then I look at my Malus and it has stickers for graphics, even on the head tube. Again, this is a personal preference, but I find it curious because I look at the Dolomite and it has a metal head tube badge. I even look at the Sports Academy version of the Malus and it has a metal head tube badge, but mine has stickers. But I guess overall, that may be good because I can peel those off. At least they're not painted on squiggles like the Mongoose XR Pro. I hope some of this info's helped you out. I try to give useful information on each and every bike you see here on KevCentral. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching another one of my videos and have a great day.